So, has this ever happened to you? You're in therapy and you're told to work on building secure attachments. But then you go to a meditation class and the teacher tells you to let go of all attachments. It's a classic paradox, and honestly, it trips up a lot of people. Well, today, we're going to untangle this knot by diving into the incredible work of Dr. Daniel P. Brown. We're going to solve this puzzle once and for all.
Right? It's a real head scratcher. One expert is telling you to connect, to lean in. The other is telling you to detach, to let go. It feels like you're being pulled in completely opposite directions. But what if they're not opposites at all? What if they're actually talking about two totally different things, and understanding that difference is the key?
And that's really the heart of it. The whole confusion comes down to this. In English, we use one single word, attachment, for two completely different ideas. And if you don't get the distinction, it can really mess with your progress, whether that's in therapy or just trying to find some peace and quiet on a meditation cushion.
Okay, so let's clear this up for good. We're going to step into two different worlds and see how each one understands this idea of attachment. First, we'll look at it from the world of psychology, then we'll hop over to the world of meditation and contemplative practice.
This slide really says it all. In psychology, attachment is all about the bond, that deep, emotional connection to our parents or caregivers that literally sets the stage for every other relationship in our lives. But in meditation, attachment is a mental habit. It's that inner grabbing or clinging to our thoughts and feelings. See the difference? One is about connection, the other is about fixation. They're worlds apart.
Let's dig into the psychology side first. This idea comes from the amazing work of a guy named John Bowlby. He said that our first relationships create something he called an internal working model. You can think of it like a subconscious blueprint. It's the set of rules you learn as a little kid about how love and connection work. And that blueprint follows you around for the rest of your life, shaping how you interact with everyone. And that blueprint usually develops into one of four main patterns. Now, a secure pattern is what we're all hoping for. You're cool with getting close to people, but you're also fine with your independence. But when things are a little rocky in childhood, insecure patterns can pop up. Someone who's dismissing avoidant tends to push people away, acting like they don't need anyone. On the flip side, someone who's anxious, preoccupied might be constantly worried about their relationships, like their connection-seeking system is stuck in overdrive. And then there's disorganized attachment, which is the most complex. It often happens when a parent is a source of both comfort and fear, leaving a child with no clear way to feel safe.
Okay, now let's switch gears and jump into the contemplative world. They actually have a much better word for this, Dzinpa. It's a Tibetan word, and it literally means the grab. Now, this has nothing to do with your relationships. It's all about what your own mind does, how it grabs onto a fleeting thought or feeling and turns it into this huge, solid, all-consuming story. And this quote from Dan Brown just nails it. The point of meditation isn't to become some kind of emotionless zombie. You're not trying to get rid of anger or love. You're trying to get rid of the grab. You want to loosen that mental death grip so that when a feeling comes up, it doesn't totally hijack your brain. It just loses its stickiness, its grab. So we have these two really different ideas of attachment. One's about bonds, one's about a mental grab. But here's where Dr. Brown's genius really shines. He saw that these two worlds aren't separate at all. In fact, they are deeply, deeply connected. This was his breakthrough insight. They don't conflict, they interact. He realized that our psychological attachment style, that blueprint from childhood, is the very thing that fuels the contemplative grab. The patterns we learned in our earliest relationships become the very same mental habits we get stuck on when we try to meditate. And listen to this quote from John Churchill, who was one of Brown's teaching partners. He says that all the stuff that gets in the way of our inner peace is really a form of distrust, and that distrust is rooted in not getting what we needed as kids. So that restless, noisy mind you struggle with on the cushion, it might not be a meditation problem at all. It might just be an old wound. And you can really see how this plays out. If you have an anxious attachment style, you might find your mind gets caught in these endless loops of worry during meditation. If you're more on the avoidant side, you might feel totally numb, like there's a wall between you and your feelings. And for someone with a disorganized pattern, the simple act of trying to relax can feel terrifying because letting your guard down has never felt safe. And this idea is a total game changer because it means that just trying to meditate harder might not work. You could be barking up the completely wrong tree. If the root of the problem is an insecure attachment pattern, then you need to heal that first.
So what's the solution? If our foundation is a bit shaky, how do we repair it? How do we build the kind of inner stability we need for a deep and meaningful meditation practice? Well, this integrated model gives us a really clear path forward.
Dr. Brown developed what he called the 3 pillars for healing these attachment wounds. The first is called the Ideal Parent Figure Protocol, which is all about rewiring that inner blueprint. The second is developing metacognition, basically learning to watch your mind without getting tangled up in it. And the third is working on collaborative behavior so you can actually build secure relationships in your life right now. It's not about endlessly digging through the past, it's about building a new, more secure future.
We're going to zoom in on that first pillar for a second, the ideal parent figure protocol, because it is a truly revolutionary way to heal these deep-seated patterns. It's a way to actually change that internal working model from the inside out.
So how does it work? It's basically a guided visualization. You imagine having the most perfect parents you can think of. And in your imagination, these ideal parents give you all the things you might have missed out on as a kid. That deep feeling of being safe, of being seen and understood, of being comforted when you're hurt, of someone just taking delight in you for who you are, and that feeling of unwavering support. The goal isn't to change the past. It's to give your brain a new, positive, secure experience right now. You're literally building a new blueprint. And the result of this kind of work is profound. When you heal your attachment system, you create this solid, secure base inside yourself. And from that place of inner safety, it becomes so much easier to let go, to relax, to trust yourself, and to explore your own mind without all that fear and hypervigilance. And what's really fascinating is how this psychological technique mirrors a traditional meditation practice. The Ideal Parent Figure Protocol uses visualization to build inner security. Well, in the meditation traditions Dan Braun studied, there's something called the retinue practice, where you imagine being surrounded by a whole field of wise, compassionate, supportive beings. They're 2 different paths, but they're pointing to the exact same goal, creating a felt sense of safety so you can finally relax and open up.
So, let's wrap this all up. What are the big takeaways? First, attachment means 2 different things, a psychological bond and a mental grab. Second, and this is crucial, the 2 are totally interconnected. Our insecure bonds are the fuel for that mental grab. And that means healing our attachment patterns can directly turbocharge our meditation practice. And a powerful way to do that healing is through methods like the Ideal Parent Figure Protocol.
So I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. We often think this spiritual path is about going it alone, about isolating ourselves to find inner peace. But what if that's got it backwards? What if true inner freedom isn't about detaching from everyone, but about healing our ability to connect with them in a deep, secure, and healthy way? What if the real key to letting go is learning how to securely hold on?
This entire explainer has been based on the groundbreaking and life-changing work of the late Dr. Daniel P. Brown. He was a true pioneer who spent his life building a bridge between the ancient wisdom of the East and the modern psychology of the West. And his work has helped so many people find their own path to healing.